I was not surprised at the situation in which I found myself at Glassboro State College. It was a simple kind of normal school that had grown a little bit, and I knew they were building a new building. This building, Wilson Music Center, was just in the book. So I was only over in Bunce Hall in the basement for 1 year, but we knew that this new building was happening, and there was great expansion going on, and projecting much bigger music department and wonderful facilities. A school like Rowan or a school like Glassboro State College is going to attract a certain kind of student. Those students, young people who already have had superb early training and have entered all kinds of major competitions and who have success at a very high level. If they're amongst the top 100 or even 1,000 students in the United States, they're probably going to go to a school that has a big pedigree. The Juilliard School or Curtis, they're going to be looking for those kinds of places, almost without exception. So it's a given that if you accept a job in a state university, you're going to have not only perhaps some of those students from time to time, but mostly students who have different kinds of aspirations. Now, they may come in thinking that somehow magically they're going to have big performing careers, but it's not difficult after a short time for them to know that they're going to find their place in this field, but it's not going to be that of a touring artist, whatever that is these days. We had this wonderful Soviet American season back in 1987 that was a celebration of the 20th year of the Kosygin Johnson summit. The irony is I wasn't here for this summit. And perhaps the summit wasn't terribly important to anybody in the whole world. It was a relatively small event. But on the other hand, when I had started the Hollybush Festival, we had a wonderful board of trustees, board of directors, and in about 1986, they said, next year is the 20th year of the Summit Conference. We should do a Soviet American season. At that time, the cultural accords that Gorbachev and Reagan were going to sign hadn't happened yet. And I said, oh, sure. Without knowing anything about how to go about doing it, and without going into a lot of detail, I just got on a train and made an appointment to go to the Soviet embassy, and I met with the third-ranking Soviet diplomat in the United States, who was the cultural attaché. And from there, lots of things happened. Everything happened. It wasn't easy. It took a lot of time, took a lot of money. But on the other hand, we had this really glorious season where the Kirov Ballet, which is now Mariinsky, came here. And I can tell you, sitting in Wilson Hall, press buses coming from New York and LA, and Baryshnikov is sitting in the audience right behind my parents. And to watch the curtain go up on Chopiniana, all those white tutus, it was just glorious. I still think it's the high point of my professional life in lots of ways that we were able to do that. And then the Love for Three Oranges of Prokofiev, we brought over singers from the Stanislavski Theater. It was really spectacular on every level and done very well. But it was done with great support from the university, of course, and we made something out of that. It's like ask for something and maybe you get some of it. So we got that. Then, with the breakup of the Soviet Union, we had scholarships for post-Soviet students. And I thought right away, well, listen, there have to be some good pianists in there. The difference between America and the former Soviet Union or Russia today is they have a system and we don't when it comes to the arts. And so every student gets a chance to go to music school. It was almost free. And so I could just know that if a student finished X music school over there, I didn't even have to hear them. I knew what it meant. And it was a wonderful thing. We had great musicians coming here from Russia, from Moldova, from Ukraine, from Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan even, we had one girl. So I'm going to have another one coming in this year from Uzbekistan. So we've lost a lot of that connection over the years, but on the other hand, people still someplace in these communities, they know there's a lady in Glassboro, New Jersey at a school called Rowan University who is happy to have these, students from the former Soviet Union. And they still come to make us better. If you look over on the wall past you'll see certificate upon certificate. Those are all prizes won at national competitions by mostly my post-Soviet students. So making something out of not so much helped me a great deal. And I'll tell you, the most exciting thing was the first time that Rowan had a student in the national MTNA finals. It was Rafi Baselyan, an Armenian. And we flew out to LA, and to have Rowan's name on the list was very exciting. You're talking about just 8 or 9 people, because the Eastern Division runs all the way from Maine to Washington, D.C. So that's a lot. That includes people from New York and Pennsylvania and everywhere else. So we were very, very excited about that. And then now I have had 9 or 10 national finalists. It's a lot for a school of our size. So I take great pleasure in that. But as I said, I take great pleasure in helping any student achieve what their own goals might be. So if the music ed student turns into a better pianist, therefore is a better artist, and goes into the community and brings some of that and is teaching well, it's a big circular kind of process, and all of it is important to me.